Welcome back to the next move with Valetax. My name is Innocent Ryaniferi, Global Market Analyst here at Valetax. On this week's market outlook, as always, we're going to be sharing trade ideas for the coming week and the fundamentals that could be affecting or influencing the direction of the market. But before we get started, let's do a quick recap of the events and trade idea from last week. The major movers and events of last week has to be the continuation of the strength on the USD, which was highly influenced by higher inflation numbers. We see the core CPI coming up as 4.9, the highest it's been in 3 years, and the PPI coming softer than expected, but none-regardless, still on high, keeping the Fed narrative of higher for longer rates. With this influencing the market, we saw pressure on the gold and cryptocurrencies sliding back into the USD. That also influenced the direction of our trade idea on the XAUUSD last week, when we expected the XAUUSD to have corrected back into the 4,400 or 4,500 levels before a continuation of the sells. But we saw prices range a bit at the 4,300 area before the continuation of the sells and the heavy dump that followed on the XAUUSD, with prices on the XAUUSD hitting as low as the 4,033 levels. Moving on for this week, we're going to be sharing trade ideas on the XAUUSD. The XAUUSD is still under pressure with the current higher inflation numbers for the USD bringing in strength back into the United States dollars. With XAUUSD sliding, we see the XAUUSD currently at the 4,200 levels after it hit the support levels at the 4,030 levels before the bullish correction at the end of the week. For this coming week, we're going to be expecting to see continuation of that correction back into possible levels as the 4,250, 280 levels at the current intraday previous support to reclaim that level as a resistance before the continuation of the sells for the XAUUSD. We can also see the correlation between the shorts on the XAUUSD and the DXY, with the DXY softly playing back a possible bearish correction back into the 99.500 levels. Although the DXY could be playing a range game between the 99.500 and the 100.300 levels for the DXY, we might see a continuation of the strength on the dollar, thereby fostering more sells for the XAUUSD. So our trade idea for this week is a continuation for the sells on the XAUUSD. Remember, charts are only just the footprints of the market, but what brings more context into it is understanding what's moving the market, and that's why we have to pay attention to the fundamentals. So here are the following macro news you should be paying attention for the coming week. With all eyes on the federal interest rate decision, this week we have the federal funds rate and the FOMC economic projections coming up this week on Wednesday, followed by the unemployment claims and the Fed manufacturing index on Thursday for the USD. Remember to pay attention closely during these news hours and trade smart and trade carefully. The summary for this week's trade idea is the XAUUSD if prices fully target back its correction level at the 4,200 areas before a continuation for the sells. Remember, this is not a trading signal, but only a trade idea with no guarantee for success. So always do your own research and apply risk management where necessary. And until next time, I'll see you on the next move with Valetax.